The sun had barely risen over the land of Canaan. 17-year-old Joseph opened his eyes. He sat up slowly from his bed of straw. He did not know that this day would change his life forever. He did not know about the pit, or the chains, or the betrayal that would hurt more than any wound. All he knew was that his father loved him, and that he had a dream. Before we go deeper, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here with me tonight. Tell me, where are you listening from? And what time is it for you? Is it late? Are your eyes tired? Are you lying under a blanket right now? Whatever time it is, I'm really happy to have you here. You are not alone. I'm here with you. Now turn off your lights. Take a deep breath. Let your body rest. Let this story walk with you into sleep. Joseph was Jacob's son, and Jacob loved him more than all his other children. Maybe that was the problem. Jacob gave Joseph a beautiful gift, a long coat. It had many colors, bright and beautiful, the kind of coat no other brother had. It said, "You are special." Joseph wore it with joy, but his brothers, they looked at him with silent eyes full of something cold. Are you still awake? Let me ask you, have you ever felt hated just because someone loved you too much? Have you ever been the target just for being happy? That's how Joseph felt. The smiles in the house stopped. The air grew quiet when he walked in. One night, Joseph had a dream. He saw himself in a field. His bundle of grain stood tall. The others bowed down to him. The next night, another dream. This time, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars all bowed to him. Joseph told his brothers. He didn't mean harm. He was just a boy, excited to share. But his brothers were angry. They hated him even more. But the dreams didn't stop. The next one was about stars. The sun, the moon, all bowing to him. Let me pause here and say something gently. If God has given you a dream, don't throw it away just because people don't believe in it. They don't have to see it. They're not the ones who planted it inside you. You've had a long day. Let the story carry you. Let the water calm you. And if something is weighing heavy in your heart, drop it in the comments. You don't have to explain. Just write, "I need peace." Someone else will read it and feel less alone too. One day, Joseph's father sent him a check on his brothers. He wore the coat. The mistake. The moment they saw him from far away, they said, "Here comes that dreamer." They didn't hug him. They grabbed him, ripped the coat from his body, and threw him into a pit. No water. No rope. No bouvier. Just silence. Just the sound of the wind over sand, and the taste of confusion in his mouth. Are you still with me? Good. You know, I once had a friend who was betrayed by her own sister. It was over something small, but it hurt her deeply. Betrayal has a strange way of finding us close to home, just like it did with Joseph. So, if you've ever felt rejected, maybe by a parent, a friend, or even a church, remember, Joseph too was thrown in a pit by his own blood. I promise you this, sometimes the pit is the beginning of the palace. Joseph didn't know that. Not yet,
but because they don't see what God sees in you. Still, don't stop dreaming. What's meant for you will find you, even if people try to stop it. The desert wind was hot. Joseph's hands were tied. Sand pressed into his sandals. The men walking beside him said nothing, but Joseph could hear the coins in their pockets. The coins they got for him, 20 pieces of silver. That's what his life was worth. 20? That's less than the price of a goat. Maybe even a nice pair of sandals. Imagine finding out you're cheaper than someone's lunch. Don't worry, Joseph. God still had big plans. Even if you were on discount, the road to Egypt was long. Joseph didn't speak, but in his heart he prayed. Even in chains he believed. Somehow God was still there. Are you still with me? Let me whisper something to your heart. Even when people treat you like you're nothing, God still sees everything inside you. You're not cheap. You're not forgotten. You're chosen. Joseph arrived in Egypt, a land of strange people, new language, new rules, new chains. But someone was watching. A rich man named Potiphar bought Joseph, brought him into his home, made him a servant. Joseph worked hard. He cleaned, he cooked, he organized. Somehow everything he touched turned out well. Even the goats started behaving better. It was like Joseph had the Midas touch. But for chores, Potiphar liked him, so he gave Joseph more jobs. Soon Joseph was in charge of the whole house. Can you imagine that? From pit to prison to Potiphar's personal manager. God doesn't just rescue, he promotes. But then came trouble, big trouble, with big eyes, and a very dramatic wife. Potiphar's wife started watching Joseph. She liked the way he looked, maybe a little too much. She tried to talk to him. She tried to hold his hand. But Joseph said no. Day after day, she kept asking. And Joseph kept walking away, quickly.
Until one day, she grabbed his coat. He ran, left the coat in her hands. But she screamed. She lied to her husband, said Joseph had tried to hurt her. Potiphar believed her. And just like that, Joseph was thrown into prison. Let's pause here for a moment. I want you to breathe. Some of you listening right now, you've been blamed for things you didn't do. You've been lied on, rejected, misunderstood. But listen to me. God saw it. He still sees. And he knows how to turn that prison into a platform. Joseph sat in a dark cell. No windows, no friends, just cold stone walls. And still, he did not lose faith. He served even in the prison, helped the other prisoners, gained favor with the guards, and soon, they put him in charge of the whole prison. Yep, Joseph was now the prison manager. This guy could manage anything, except his own peace and quiet. Faced with tears of joy. How do you go from slave to supervisor with no CV? But that's how it is. When God is with you, are you still awake? Or smiling with your eyes closed? Good. This part of Joseph's story may feel slow, but sometimes the waiting season is the most important part. Because while you wait, God is building something deep inside you. Character, strength, trust. In that prison, Joseph met two new men. One was a cupbearer, one was a baker. Both had strange dreams. And Joseph? He helped them understand those dreams. He told the cupbearer, "In 3 days, you'll be free." He told the baker, "Also 3 days, but your ending won't be as fun. Grimacing face. The dreams came true. The cupbearer was free, and Joseph asked him, "Please remember me when you leave." But the man forgot, just like that. Have you ever helped someone and they forgot you? Ever prayed for someone, stood by them, and when it was your turn, they vanished? You're not alone. Joseph knows that feeling. But the silence of man doesn't cancel the voice of God. Joseph stayed in prison. Days passed, then months, then years. But one day, a dream came to Pharaoh, a dream that nobody could explain. And finally, someone remembered the boy with the gift, the dreamer, the one in the prison. Joseph, take a deep breath. Close your eyes a little deeper, because the next part, it's where God shows off. The prison was quiet that morning. The air was still. Another day, another breath. Joseph didn't know it yet, but today was not just another day. This was the day everything would change. Far away, in a golden palace, Pharaoh had a dream. Two dreams, actually, both strange, both scary. In one dream, he saw 7 fat cows, then 7 thin cows. The thin cows ate the fat ones. Yikes. In the second dream, there were 7 full heads of grain, followed by 7 dry, ugly ones. The dry ones swallowed the good ones. Pharaoh woke up sweating. This wasn't just a dream. This meant something. He called all his magicians, all his wise men, but no one could explain it. Everyone was confused. And then someone finally remembered. The cupbearer, the one Joseph had helped years ago. He said, "There's a man in prison. He can explain dreams." Are you still with me? Have you ever felt forgotten? Hidden? Stuck in a quiet place while the world moves on without you? Joseph felt that for years, but now the door was opening. They rushed to the prison, cleaned Joseph up, gave him a haircut, a bath, which was probably needed. Because let's be honest, prison doesn't come with spa day. Joseph stood before Pharaoh, the same boy who once dreamed under the stars, now standing before a king in gold. Pharaoh said, "I heard you can explain dreams." Joseph looked up and said, "I can't, but God can." That line right there, that's power. Joseph didn't take the credit. He didn't try to impress the king. He stayed humble. And when you let God shine, doors open wide. Pharaoh told him the dream. Joseph listened quietly, then spoke gently. "There will be 7 good years." Joseph said, "Then 7 bad years. Save food now, so the people won't starve later." Pharaoh looked at him, thought deeply, and then smiled. "You are wise," he said. "You have God's spirit." And just like that, Pharaoh removed his royal ring, put on Joseph's finger, gave him fine clothes, a golden chain, and a new title, from prisoner to prince. That's what God can do in one day. You may be in a slow season now, but when God moves, things change fast. You don't need everyone's help, just God's timing. Joseph now ruled over all Egypt. He planned. He stored food. He saved the land. 7 good years came. The people had food, and Egypt grew strong. Then came the famine, dry skies, empty farms. People came from everywhere looking for food. And one day, Joseph looked out from his palace window and saw something, or rather, someone. 10 men, dusty, tired, hungry. His brothers. Can you imagine that moment? The same people who sold you, now standing in front of you, needing help. Plot twist of the year. But Joseph didn't say anything yet. He wanted to test them, to see if their hearts had changed. So he gave them food, but kept one of them behind, and told them to bring their youngest brother next time. Little did they know that powerful man they were talking to was their own brother. Are you still awake? Take a deep breath. You're doing well. Let your shoulders drop. Let your chest rise slowly, then fall. There's more to Joseph's story, but here's what you should remember tonight. God's delay is not his denial. Every quiet day in Joseph's life was building something greater. Joseph forgave his brothers, but not yet. That part comes next. As you sleep tonight, let go of whatever pit you're in, because palaces still exist, and your story is still being written. The air inside the palace was heavy. Joseph looked at the 10 men standing before him. His brothers, the same ones who threw him in a pit, sold him, walked away. They didn't recognize him. Of course they didn't. He wore royal robes now, spoke Egyptian, had power in his voice, and pain in his eyes. Have you ever stood face to face with someone who hurt you, and they had no idea who you are anymore? They moved on, but you remember every word, every scar. That was Joseph. He tested them, asked questions, looked for their hearts. Were they still selfish, or had they changed? He asked about their family. They spoke of their younger brother, Benjamin, and their old father, Jacob. Joseph listened, quietly. He gave them food, but told them to bring Benjamin next time. Then he wept, in secret. Sometimes you cry not because you're weak, but because healing is starting. Tears are prayers too. The brothers came back with Benjamin, and when Joseph saw him, something broke inside. This was his little brother, the one who didn't betray him, the one who still smiled like home. Joseph held a feast, sat them all in order, oldest to youngest. His brothers looked at each other like, what does he know our ages? Plot twist number 47. He gave Benjamin 5 times more food, because older brothers need to watch younger brothers shine sometimes. Then Joseph gave them one final test. He had a silver cup in Benjamin's bag. Let them leave, then sent soldiers after them. The cup was found. The brothers were afraid. They begged, cried, tore their clothes, offered to become slaves. And that's when Joseph knew they had changed. They were no longer the same cold-hearted boys. Now, they were brothers again. They loved. They protect. They were sorry. Joseph couldn't take it anymore. He told everyone else to leave the room. And then he cried, loudly, so loudly the whole house heard it. And through his tears he said, I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? His brothers were frozen, shocked, scared. But Joseph stepped closer and said, don't be afraid. You meant to hurt me, but God used it for good. He sent me here to save lives. And then he hugged them, held them, wept over them, forgave them. Are you still awake? Let me ask you something gentle. Is there someone in your life you haven't forgiven? Not because they deserve it, but because you need peace? Forgiveness doesn't mean it didn't hurt. It just means you're choosing freedom. The pit was real, but the healing is yours. Joseph sent for his father, gave his brothers gifts, cried again when he saw Jacob's face. After all those years, they were together again. And Joseph? He never stopped trusting God, even in the pit, even in prison, even when he was forgotten, because deep down, he knew his story wasn't over. As you close your eyes now, I want to say this. Your pain is not wasted. Your pit is not permanent, and your healing is coming. So smile even a little, rest your body, and sleep with peace. Because just like Joseph, you are not alone, and your dream is still alive. You just heard the full story of Joseph, the boy with the dream, the one who was thrown away, but never forgotten, from the pit to the palace, through pain, betrayal, silence, and finally, forgiveness. If tonight reminded you of your own journey, your own waiting, your own healing, then please know this. God hasn't forgotten you either. Just because you don't see the plan yet, doesn't mean there isn't one. Just because the night feels long, doesn't mean morning isn't coming. As you sleep tonight, let go of fear, let go of shame, let go of everything that whispers you're not enough. You're deeply loved, and your story is still being written. Let me know in the comments where you listen from. It's always so beautiful to see where everyone is tuning in from all over the world. USA, the UK, India, Canada, South Africa, we're all here, together. And I'm thankful you're part of this family. If this story brought you peace tonight, leave a like, subscribe, not because I told you to, but because your heart felt something, and you want more. I'll be back again with another story soon, another peaceful night, another reminder that you are not alone. Until then, sleep well, dream gently, and always remember, even in the darkest moments, God is still writing.